Send the chicks out. Remember to engage the rail.
You keep falling down, I keep pushing you out and wish you were gone. You keep falling down, I keep pushing you out and wish you were gone.
Oh, did you see that?
To get out there, I reckon.
Brings back good memories.
Rivals, 8 iconic surfers from yesteryear, battling it out in conditions of their choosing at a wave they know like the back of their hand. Each surfer gets 2 months to pick their window, then it's 2 hours of power with our camera crew on hand bagging clips for you to vote on. Sounds easy enough, but you'd be surprised. Last season we saw Coolie Kid and 2012 world champ Joel Parkinson funnel his way to victory in an epic tube shootout with his old mates Mick Fanning and Dean Morrison. But while they scored, just as many didn't.
So it's a really good concept and competitive concept, and you know, I guess it's got huge potential to be something just out of the world if you land one of those perfect days.
Now it's over to the women, and what a lineup it is. 9 world titles, 3 world champs, and spanning 3 continents, starting with none other than the Australian sporting iconoclast, the original femme goat, the 7-time world champion, Lane, get out of my bloody way, Beachley.
I have bled and sweated and vomited, and I have committed myself to being fit and strong and tenacious and focused, and I know you haven't. So I'm going to resort back to that. I'm not going to look for an excuse as to why I should lose today. I'm going to look for a way to win.
Lane should be recognised as, one of the best Australian female athletes, or just athletes. Take away the female.
Lane has been amazing for the sport. You know, we've been really lucky to have someone as passionate as her trying to help our sport grow to where it is now.
She has that ability to find that confidence like no other woman in surfing was able to do in our generation. And even when I look at the generation that's competing now, no one's really like Lane.
How much further do you think you can go on your own surfing?
As far as they push me.
She was like, I'm getting it and I don't care about anyone else, you know, you've got to have that. You know, people would always be like, you got to have that inner bitch.
You know, Lane's always had this really deep confidence, and I always felt like it was a little cocky.
So, yeah, I had that level of confidence bordering on arrogance that, that bit me in the ass several times.
Don't believe a word she says. She's a gibbering fool. Oh, I just broke her trust.
Piss off, Barbie.
When we first got on tour, those girls were like, always at each other, like in the surf, out of the surf, like nitpicking at each other all the time. Like maybe they didn't realise it, but it was funny to watch.
Literally, like right after I lost the world title to Lane, we had to go over to the other side of the island in Maui and do an autograph signing, and I just had to sit there and sign posters while she just like gloated over her win. So yeah, that was pretty awful.
There's your medal dozen.
There we go.
It's what you read when you get closer to 50.
Lane, down at Freshwater, I know she lives on the beachfront down there. She's probably just eyeing off this like little peak.
It can be shitty beaches, or it can get, pumping. She could get pumping deer wire or something.
You know, when I talk to the guys about surfing a rival's heat, they say, tell me about it. And I say, well, it's a digital version of, surfing against my peers. And they say, well, I can't imagine a digital podium feels as good as a regular podium. And I said, yeah, so if I do win, I'm going to grab a trophy out of my trophy room, I'm going to walk down to the beach and hold it above my head, and I want one of you to spray me with champagne, just so I can get that feeling back of the celebration that I always enjoyed, because nothing in the real world emulates that experience.
KEALA Kennelly, one of the hardest humans in planetary history. A product of the hardcore Hawaiian surf community of Kauai, and a contemporary of the Irons brothers, Bruce and Andy among others. She spent a decorated decade on the world tour, including a world title runner-up to who else than Lane Beachley. In between, she managed a big wave world championship, pioneered chopes for the women, charged jaws, and racked up more serious injuries and heavy beatdowns than you've had hot honey crumpets.
Yeah, I love the concept. You know, I miss competing against these incredible women. You know, we had some really amazing heats on tour, some close heats, you know, win some, lose some. I think it's gonna be really fun.
I don't like surfing against girls that I'm staying with, and I don't like surfing against girls that I get along with, and I don't get along with that many girls, so that's too bad.
She definitely came on with like the kawaii girl attitude and was upset about, you know, the crappy waves and, you know, was always looking for bigger, better, barrely kind of waves to really bring out her best. And that was her forte.
You know, I think I remember being in heats with KK at Chopu, and I think this big, ugly West Bowl that was just a big closeout, the right was coming into it, and I had priority, and I'm like, you can have it, I don't want it, you go.
You just knew that if you drew like someone like KEALA at Chopu, you're probably gonna lose, unless you're gonna throw yourself over the ledge.
It was just so fun to watch. You didn't know if she was just gonna like get absolutely annihilated or get the biggest barrel of her life.
KENNELLY loves big barreling waves. She loves the barrel, especially Chopu, which surprises me still to this day because the amount of time she's been so severely injured out there. I mean, she's had her face ripped off at Chopu. It's just horrendous to consider it, but she still goes out there and charges it as if nothing has ever happened.
As long as like the lip doesn't like pile drive you first into the reef, as long as like the water fills in, there's usually a buffer.
She's just like, I want to take off on a 50-foot wave and airdrop for 30 seconds and get hammered. Or
you know, there's only so much that a body can handle, so it's a little concerning, some of the wipeouts that she was taking.
She's taking like women surfing big waves to another level, you know, and I think we all admire her like so much, you know, for what she's doing.
I'm in awe of the fact that she's a big wave world champion now, because she deserves to be.
Oh my God, the big wave world title. Yeah, I don't know if it felt good because what I had to do to get it, man, was just like pure suicide.
I went to Jaws on a jet ski and I wouldn't even agree to be towed into it, let alone paddling into it. It's mind-boggling what these girls are doing in these waves now.
Yeah, I wonder what wave she's gonna surf if she's on Rival. She's probably gonna surf Jaws or something like that.
yeah, good point. KK may just get spat out of 3 massive pipe bombs and we're grovelling on some beach break trying to do a closeout turn and we're all just going to get blown out of the water.
If KEALA goes and charges pipe, then say goodbye to the trophy in my trophy room.
You definitely feel good to walk away with a trophy, especially surfing against, you know, people like Lane.
Yeah, KK would love to win this and beat Lane.
After the break, we meet the rest of our all-star lineup. Welcome back to Rivals. Next up, the Peruvian groover and first ever South American world champ, SOFIA MALONOVICH. Back in 2004, SOFIA took Lane down in what was just her second year on tour to claim the silverware, not to mention an ISA world title. A household name in the Americas, she represented the Peruvian surf team at the Tokyo Olympics and poses a serious threat to the Rivals race.
It's really cool. I've never surfed a contest like this before. I've surfed some like internet contests, you know, online surf videos and stuff like that, but I've never been part of a show like this, so I'm excited, for sure.
Oh, gosh, SOFIA was a force to be reckoned with, especially on her backhand because of the amount of left-handers in Peru, and she just rips the bag out of them.
She's definitely going to be a contender in this thing, for sure.
Soph's got probably one of the best backhand snaps and backhand surfing and forehand, and she's got a perfect left-hand point break, like literally looking out of her window from her room.
Sophia is just like a little barnacle. You just can't get rid of her. You know, she just always seemed to find the waves that she needed, and she was really good at scrapping in the surf and always right time, right place.
I was really excited when SOFIA won her first world title. She was going to be a beacon of hope, a beacon of inspiration, an absolute leader in her field. And her nation needed that sense of hope and inspiration, and she was the perfect person to fulfill that role. So generous, so gracious, so humble, and so beautiful.
I've never seen any surfer, like maybe Gabe Medina when he got back to Brazil or something after, I don't know when he won, but it was SOFIA, like the whole country was obsessed with Sophia.
It was a change, you know, so I think people like when the underdog, you know, someone different does good. So yeah, I felt a lot of support from all the girls and everybody.
We were done with that shit. We were ready for somebody else. So Sophia was like a nice tall glass of water.
Big lockdowns for Sophia with all the COVID crap. So I don't know how much she's been able to get out and free surf.
My family got sick, my brother got sick, you know, my parents both were sick. I thought I was sick. Like, we've had a lot of like quarantines, like without being able to surf or go to the ocean. So it has for sure taken some time out of us.
Yeah, I hope she can, because it wouldn't be rivals without Soph in there.
Sophia's longtime sparring partner and travel companion is our next contender on Rivals, Chelsea Hedges. Part of the new wave of women's surfing, Chelsea and Sophia arrived on tour to spoil Lane's party, winning back-to-back world titles, Sophia in 04 and Chelsea in 05.
I was just like, thank God. The tides have turned.
Calm, quiet and composed, Chelsea lets her surfing do the talking, and it speaks volumes. One of the greatest barrel riders in women's surfing history, she broke new ground with her backside approach. Discovered by the great American world champ Lisa Anderson as a 14-year-old, Chelsea, like her idol, miraculously juggled the responsibilities of raising 3 children with a pro surfing career. Compared to that, Rivals should be a cakewalk.
Yeah, when I got asked to do Rivals, the biggest thing for me, I guess, was like, the kid comes back out and you're like, yeah, I can still totally shred and I could look good. But then kind of reality kicks back in and you're going, oh my God, where am I going to surf? And I'm going to look at weather and like all these conditions. This is way too much pressure. Chelsea Hedges excels in all conditions, so it doesn't really matter what kind of surf she gets, which is kind of annoying.
Her backhand barrel riding was actually, to me, and her backside surfing was the most impressive.
Yeah, Chelsea's, pig dogging was next level. Like, she'd go on boat trips and the guys were like, I can't pig dog like that. She's mental.
My money's on Chelsea for Rival Season 2. She is in formidable form. She's an incredible surfer. I think she's actually probably one of the most underrated surfers that women's surfing has ever seen.
Steph, Chelsea, Carissa, you know, like those girls are probably my top surfers ever. So for sure, I think she's always a threat.
Yeah, if I can get a good east swell down here along, anywhere from Kingy to Potty, if you get some good banks, you can definitely get some fun waves. So yeah, just can't wait to go surfing for 2 hours by myself.
More Rivals after the break. The hallmarks of Rivals Season 2 is the spread of ages of our competitors, ranging from 37 all the way to 50. At 45 years old, Serena Sauce Brooke is giving away a few years on her competitors, but still plenty fit and a serious contender.
Sauce is great. Sauce is just a good time. You know, she's just so fun and silly and such a great surfer and just so fun to hang out with. Everybody loves Saucy.
Yeah, Serena, saucy.
Saucy is very saucy, and I think anyone that meets her knows that she's extremely saucy human. And I was like, oh, what's that, some weird, sexual thing, or you're all saucy or something? I'm like, no, it's literally from putting tomato sauce on white bread and eating it. And that's the story.
I love Sauce, she's awesome.
She was just the life of the party. She's got lots of energy, she's really effervescent, she's really fun to hang around with.
Yeah, I felt like Serena was never too much of a threat to me, sorry, Sauce.
I wouldn't want to go past, get a fight with Saucy. She's crazy.
The former ASP Rookie of the Year and 2-time world title runner-up Lane Beachley was a stalwart of the top 10 during her time on tour and one of Australian surfing's most recognisable faces. She's a mother these days, holding down a job in aged care between chasing swells on the Noosa Point breaks, where she has opted to surf her Rivals heat.
I feel like Noosa only breaks really well, like a couple of times a year, so It's going to be touch and go for Saucy.
If you get Noosa pumping, you've definitely got a good chance at winning because it allows so much. There's a barrel sections, you can do a ton of really good turns.
You're not going to win this thing on cutbacks, so yeah.
If I can score that would be amazing, but fingers crossed, I need luck on my side.
The underdog is 48-year-old Kate Wilkins, formerly known as Kate Scarrett in her World Tour days. Raised on a farm in Grafton over an hour inland, Kate only really started surfing consistently at age 17, very late by the standards of tour athletes.
It's really amazing when somebody can not grow up around big, heavy, solid waves, but just, you know, they just have that like animal instinct in them to go after it. So Kate's definitely one of those people.
She grew up in Angara, which is predominantly like a right-hand point break. So I don't know where she developed her big wave surfing from.
Kate earned cult hero status for her courageous performances at Big Pipeline in Hawaii while working as a stuntwoman in the Hollywood film Blue Crush.
She always surprised me in how hard she charged because, you know, she's such a beautiful woman and she has such a like feminine look to her. She didn't look like that type of woman that would just get on a board and drop in at Pipeline.
I think once again, Kate's another one of those underrated surfers. You know, people see these girls as being pint-sized and thin and feminine and petite and go, what do they got?
She also won the Tahiti Pro in '99 at the feared Chopu Reef, and these days is a mother of two and director of Surfing Australia's cutting-edge high-performance centre, which recently took her all the way to Tokyo in charge of Australia's Olympic surf team.
She's such a good person for the role. She's, you know, she's the person that I think deserves that role really the most. She's got so much experience and she's all over it, so I'm really stoked that she's got that job.
Yeah, the Olympics are an incredible dream and probably didn't ever think that I'd be part of that journey.
Yeah, because Skaz and I work in the office together, you know, we'll throw in a sly little joke here and there just to get each other going, and yeah, it's going to be super fun. Like, obviously, you know, we're a bit older now, we're a little bit slower, but look, at the end of the day, we're just having fun, and Mum's going surfing, a lot of us.
They won't think that Skaz is going to, like, you know, come out and get a couple waves. They'll just be going, oh, it's all right, don't worry about Skaz.
More Rivals after the break. Welcome back to Rivals. Our next competitor is Sam Cornish. A child prodigy and protege of the great Lane Beachley, Cornish was a two-time World Junior Champion by the time she was 18. She bagged a handful of Elite Tour victories on her way to a career best ranking of #1 in the world back in 2007. A chip off the old block, Sam's father Peter is also a former pro surfer who you can expect to be in her corner come go time this series.
Yeah, I think she'd like to beat Lane. Hello, Lane.
I know Sam Cornish's home break is Crescent Head and it's a great longboard wave. So please, Sam, take a longboard out there and do your best.
A lot of people ride off the wave and say it's like a longboard wave, but to me, I don't think that at all.
Forehand hacks, like classical forehand hacks. She used to beat me with those all the time on tour.
I remember competing against Sam actually at like the Byron Bay Easter Classic, and she was this tiny little grommet. I just remember her hassling the shit out of me. Just paddling all over the top of me, and she was so eager, and I was just like, who is this annoying little kid? Get away from me.
Sam was pretty outspoken.
Sam definitely had like a lot of, you know, inner confidence, and she was probably a bit like Lane in that way, like, here, I'm here, I'm ready to make something of this.
Sam beat me in the final in 2003 at the Billabong Pro in Maui to rob me of my Cinderella story. I won my 6th consecutive world title. I really wanted to win the event, and she beat me on her last wave.
She's like, God damn it, how in the hell did you do that? She was like so pissed off about it. You may be world champion, but I still beat you today.
10 years Sam Senior is the half-centurion and oldest competitor in Rivals, Rochelle Ballard. One of the icons of women's surfing's push for recognition, the diminutive 5'1" Ballard spent an incredible 17 years on the world tour, 12 of which were in the top 10. Runner-up to Sofia Malonovic in 2004, Ballard made her mark in waves of consequence, with the Kauaian considered one of, if not the greatest female tube riders of all time.
Holy crap, I can't believe Rochelle's 50 years old. That's just weird. That is just weird.
If I can look as good as you, Roach, when I'm 50, I'll be stoked.
Rochelle was the barrel queen. And if she's going to get 2 perfect 10s, it's definitely going to be in a wave that involves barrel riding.
You just gotta shoot. Just dumb shit, man. It wasn't even a good wave. You do the stupidest things on the waves that don't even count.
The most difficult person to be would probably be just someone like Rochelle.
Understanding the wave and her wave knowledge was something that I loved watching and learning from.
She has the distinct advantage of coming from Kauai.
It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's great to get us all in our element. Yeah, we're surfing reef breaks, so just need a good little direction and some nice wind and the tide, and the waves get rippable. We're all gonna surf to the best that we can every time we surf, and we wanna have like the best equipment. We wanna take care of our bodies. We wanna eat well. We always wanna be surfing as good as we can. You know, maybe the approach of riding the wave might be a little bit different. It might not be as aggressive, but I think that as, you know, we get older, you're looking for the grace of surfing and that fluid flow. I still like to get barreled.
There it is, our incredible list of rivals contenders for Series 2. Health-conscious happy mums, youth workers, aged care workers, yoga gurus, philanthropists, motivational speakers, surf industry heavyweights, and all-round positive role models. You'd expect nothing less of the trailblazers who put women surfing on the map. Tune in next week as our first competitor, Lane Beachley, takes to the waves of her native freshwater.
There's going to be a few diamonds amongst the rough, and it's got to make sure that I'm on the diamonds, because Freshie is a notorious closeout. So just a matter of picking the right ones. That's okay. That's what I'm used to.